Hi, my name is Thayer Period, and here's how I remade the beat to Chamber of Reflection by DeMarco. We are in muscle mode for this video because it is very hot out, so in the classic white tank top, here we go. The first thing I remade were these organ chords. I already made this in Serum, and here's how it sounds with no effects. So, not a super huge amount of interesting stuff going on here. For both of our wavetables, we have some modified sine waves. I went in the wavetable editor to make these by hand. Essentially what I did was just take a basic sine wave, and then I added some higher harmonics, as you can see on these specific highlighted columns. This adds some like higher frequency content to your wavetable, kind of makes it stand out a bit more. I can show you kind of the difference with that. Here's just your basic sine wave. Then as we add some here, as you can hear, bingo. Then I did the exact same thing for our oscillator B. As you can see, both of these are at the same octave level. They are tuned down 41 cents. That's because the original song is like overall detuned from the key that it is in. So I had to pitch down all the synths manually, which was kind of a pain, but all for the sake of accuracy, you know how it goes. For both of our oscillators as well, we have some unison going on. Our first one has 4 voices of unison with the detune turned down a bit. Second one has 3 voices of unison with the detune turned down a bit. To get that kind of organy warble sound as you hear here, I have this LFO1 mapped to the level of both of our oscillators to cause a bit of a fluctuation in the volume. Also mapped to the panning of both of our oscillators to make the sound move back and forth a little bit to also recreate that sound of a organic organ. Because that kind of instability is what I think really defines those like old like Hammond organs that you hear. So this was kind of the best way to recreate that. It is also set to move the fine pitch of both of our oscillators up and down a little bit just to give it again a bit of that analog-y warble. Our volume envelope is shaped like this, just a nice gentle curve in with a little bit of decay, sustain going down around 2.5 dB, then a little release to again make it sound natural. I also have our noise oscillator enabled with the level mapped to our envelope 1. Again, it is doing the analog flow white noise sound. Super barely even noticeable, but it does kind of help add to the texture of our sound. Also, it has pitch tracking enabled, so it's going to change the pitch of that noise based on what note is being played on the keyboard. Now for effects, I started by running it through an OTT, just to kind of clean everything up, squash it a little bit. Then just a soft clipper with our mix and drive turned down a little bit, just to kind of help give it a little bit of that like squished, like just distorted, like playing on a crappy speaker sound that you hear in the original organ. Next, I just added a little bit of dimension to make it a little wider, followed by an EQ to just boost our highs and cut our lows. And finally, just a chorus. Again, for additional width. And yeah, that is that sound. Next thing I added was this lead. Huge shocker, again, I made this in Serum. Here's how it sounds with no effects. Honestly, I kind of like it a little more with no effects, but not as accurate to the original, so here we are. Nothing super crazy going on. For both of our oscillators, we have a saw wave. As you can see, kind of doing the pitching down with our fine pitch to match the tone of the original, like I did with the organ. But the main sauce going on here is that we actually have our oscillator B. It's pitched up an octave, but also it's pitched up 20 cents. So essentially, it is causing a little bit of detune. I guess detune is the best way to describe it. The closer they get, the less detuned it sounds. But as you go further away, And kind of -20 was that sweet spot. Next, I just ran both of those through a low-pass filter with a butt ton of resonance, having the cutoff modulated by our envelope 1. Just to kind of give it that nice close-off motion. It's not doing a super huge amount. I don't think it even closes that low, honestly. Yeah, it only closes till around 7K. So you're not losing that much of the sound. And you get that nice resonant sweep sound as well. Layered in some bright white noise from our noise oscillator. That's also being run through the filter. And then for effects, I just started by adding a maxed out chorus on 100% for our mix. I turned up the low pass filter a bit to let more of that high end through, but that's how you get that nice sparkly tone. Then we got an EQ cutting our lows, boosting our highs. And finally, just a reverb. Next thing I added was this bass guitar sound, but I made it in Serum. Ha 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 ha, it's not really a bass guitar. Like I said, I made this in Serum. Pretty cool. Sounds pretty much just like a bass guitar. Here's how it sounds with no effects. So, most of the sauce going on here, it's honestly pretty simple. We've got 2 sine waves for both of our oscillators. Our oscillator B is turned all the way down, and that is because we are using it as a source for our FM. We are FMing our oscillator A by our oscillator B. Got the FM amount to 50%. They are both set to the same pitch though, so it's not a super harsh FM. It's pretty understated. And then honestly, a lot of the sauce is the shape of the envelope. You've got this nice organic bit of decay going on. And when you play those nice short plucky notes, you get that it's like just sounds like a bass guitar. I have mono legato enabled, but not set to always. That is because there's like one glide note in here. And that is because we just wanted it to glide on that one note, not on everything else. For effects, I just started by running it through a compressor, not set to multiband, surprise, surprise. Just to kind of get a little more punchy. Then just a little bit of reverb for some atmosphere, kind of, don't judge me. I have the decay and the size turned down a little bit. And that is just giving our sound a little bit of a kind of live sound to it, like a bit of room. Kind of puts it in a space. Putting reverb on a bass is a no. Normally I know, but hey, listen, I'm my own boss. If you don't like it, then you can stop watching the video. Next, I added just a soft clipper. Just give it a little grit. And then a little bit of a boost in the low end with our EQ. Yeah, and that's it. Honestly, a pretty simple sound. Then last but not least, we got our drums. I just sampled the drums from the original song. I do not have a drum kit. I'm assuming it's just some pretty standard drum kit drums. Pretty reverb drenched, as you can hear. But kick, snare, crash, hi-hat, and yeah, that is everything. Honestly, not super complicated. If you want access to the Serum presets from this remake, or the project file from this remake, or the one-shots of those same Serum presets from this remake, or any of my 200 plus other remakes, you can get access to all that on my Patreon at patreon.com/prodtheraperiod. It is a great way to support me and help me continue to do these remakes, and also a great way to get some new sounds and learn some stuff if you're a music producer looking for that kind of thing. So yeah, I hope that was educational and informative and interesting and entertaining and all those other things. Yeah, I'll catch you next time. Peace.